Hello, everybody. I am Victoria Vega, and I'm here to do the prevention strategy presentation with you. And the specific strategy I decided to focus on and later implement in this module is positive praise. So, for my table of context and what I'll be talking about today is number 1, purpose and steps, number 2, examples, resources, and supports, and lastly, 3, interactive activity. So for my first, I am going to go over purpose and steps. So for my purpose, I took directly from one of the articles that was provided to us so graciously this week, and I found a lot of helpful tips regarding positive praise in it. It says, using effective behavior-specific praise frequently helps to inform students what successful classroom behaviors are while providing positive attention to those students who demonstrate these effective behaviors. I think that's a great purpose and what it's known for. So steps in order to implement this kind of strategy, I would say is number 1, you notice the positive behavior. Number 2, you vocalize the behavior being seen. And 3, you ensure it's enthusiastic and heard for the whole classroom. So this would look like in an example form, it would be like if we were on circle time and let's say I see maybe a negative behavior of not sitting on the rug, but I see another positive behavior of sitting on the rug. I'd say, wow, Johnny, I just love how you're sitting on the rug so nicely. You're keeping your hands to yourself. You're sitting on a leaf. I just love seeing you sit. Great job, Johnny. And making it very known of what I'm seeing and how I love what I'm seeing and I'm enthusiastic about it, and then hopefully that combats that negative behavior of not sitting on the rug. So 2, I'm going to go over examples, resources, and supports. So for parent use, this was a little tricky for me just because if there's no siblings in the home to do the positive behavior with, it can be a little tricky of how to point out that positive rather than that negative. However, I did learn and I have been learning the importance of collaboration between teachers and parents and how it has such an impact on young child's development. So I'm, of course, willing to sit down and find that resource for the parent who may only has that one child that they're struggling with. However, I do believe that you don't always have to find that positive praise when the child is acting negatively. You can highlight their positive behavior when they're acting positively, if that makes sense. So, really emphasizing if, they've been struggling with keeping their hands to themselves and you catch a moment where they're keeping their hands to themselves, you really highlight that. Wow, I'm so happy that you're keeping your hands to yourself, Johnny. That's great. Don't mention, oh, I wish you do this all the time, but just really highlighting on that use of keeping his hands to himself in that moment. Then moving on to examples and supports, that's one thing I really do like about the positive praise strategy is it really can be used very widely across all boards within the classroom. So just some examples that I used of where it could be used is circle time, small group, choice time, walking around campus, and so much more. But those are just a few of the examples that I had mentioned. And then strategy supports just that this supports a positive climate. It's right in the name, positive praise. It just really gives that opportunity to highlight the positive behaviors rather than the negative ones. I definitely have fallen victim to the, highlighting those negative behaviors rather than the positive ones, especially when, maybe it's the students are having a rough day following directions. I find myself in this constant cycle of, hey, we need to listen. Hey, stop talking. Hey, keep your hands to yourself. Instead of really trying to highlight those students who are following directions and expectations and rules and highlighting their behavior. Because they're the ones who really deserve the attention in that moment. So that's the thing that I really like about positive praise. It's just making sure my brain is programmed towards the positive praise rather than highlighting the negative. So resources for my colleagues, we learned in one of the resources this week that the pyramid modeling to help support children's social emotional learning, the foundation of it is an effective workforce, and a part of that effective workforce is training and giving resources to colleagues. In my specific work setting, there's a lead teacher and 2 instructional aides underneath the lead teacher. I'm fortunate enough to have already accepted a position in my school district for a lead teaching position, and so I can already expect to have 2 instructional aides underneath me. And so if I was in the lead position, which I assume will be, and how I would walk through implementing positive praise and teaching it to colleagues and providing resources to other colleagues who may want it is just walking through what that positive praise looks like, referring back to that purpose, what it's known for, and then modeling, just saying, hey, I'm really going to try to emphasize this positive praise at circle time. Just make sure you're, watching how I model it, and then giving pointers during learning environments. So for doing small group, and let's say every myself and my 2 instructional aides has a group, so every adult in the classroom has a group that they're supporting in that time. If I see a positive behavior, I could really, be, oh, that's a great opportunity to point out that positive praise. I think this, again, is definitely a strategy that is learned through modeling and reprogramming your brain, because I think we're so used to highlighting the negative behaviors and not pointing out the positive ones. So it's just that reprogramming and getting used to it, and then seeing the results of it, short term and long term. So with my interactive activity and how I plan to use this strategy this week is I plan within my interactive activities, I will be taking over circle time, and I will make sure to implement these positive praise attributes. I will review our visual schedule that we have within the classroom. The video of visual schedule this week really reminded me of the importance of it. So that's one thing I really am going to highlight at the beginning of circle time. And within this, if I see a child demonstrating those behaviors, within the expectations and the schedule, I'm going to say, for example, wow, Johnny, I love how you're sitting so nicely on the rug. Great job. And really just highlight those rather than saying, hey, so-and-so, sit up. Come on, let's pay attention. I'm saying, wow, I love how so-and-so is listening so well. I love how so-and-so has their listening ears on. I love how so-and-so is keeping their hands to themselves. And just really hounding on those positive praise attributes rather than the negative ones. And this will not only implement the target of the assignment of positive praise, but also give them a reminder of the rules and expectations for circle time, which I think goes hand in hand with the positive praise, as it reminds the children what our expectations are and what, as me as the teacher, I'm looking for, because I'm constantly highlighting it. So I look forward to implementing this in my activity later this week and showing you how it goes. I wish you luck on implementing your own strategies. I can't wait to see what you guys have come up with. And yeah, here's my references. Thank you for listening to my video, and I look forward to watching yours. Thanks.